In this lesson, we're going to continue to work with paragraph text, but this time we're going to put it into columns. Now, why would we put text into columns? Why do you think when you read a newspaper or a magazine, usually that text appears in multiple columns? Well, it's not just to make it look pretty on the page, it's actually for your benefit, the reader. If your eyes don't have to scan all the way from the left side of the page to the right-hand side of the page, you won't get tired, and you'll probably read more if the text is in columns. So that's what we're going to do here with our Green Onion Bistro story. You can see I've opened up the file we're going to work with. If you've got the exercise files, go to your Lesson 5 folder. You'll find gostory1.cdr. That's the Green Onion story that you see down here. With that open, all we have to do now is select the area where our text is going to go. We know that that means creating a paragraph frame. You should be an expert at this by now. We go over to our toolbox, click on the text tool, and then we just marquee select the area here where we want our text to appear. So I'm going to start up here on my left ruler about the 9-inch mark, and I'm going to go in about 1/4 inch from the border, click and drag to the opposite side and down, and try and maintain 1/4 inch all the way around. And when I let go, I've got my frame. This is where my text is going to go. All I have to do is start typing it. Or, I've already provided you with some text. If you've got the exercise files, you can start up Notepad and navigate to the Lesson 5 folder, and you'll have this, the Green Onion story, which is a TXT file. You can see not much formatting here, it's just sample text. All we have to do is copy it and paste it into Draw. So you can go up to your Edit menu to select it all, or Control-A on the keyboard. Next, you'll copy it. Control-C on the keyboard will copy it to the Windows clipboard, or click Edit and choose Copy right from here. Then we can minimize Notepad. We're done with it. Flip over to our text frame here. Make sure we're flashing away in the top left corner and paste it. I'm going to go up to my Paste button, and in comes my text. When I go to my Pick tool, I look at it, and it doesn't look too bad. But like I said, for our readers who have to scan from the left side all the way to the right side, maybe this would look better if it were in columns. Now, the entire frame is still selected, so all I have to do is go up to my text menu and come down to columns. Now, the column settings, you can see it's actually already in columns. It's just one wide column. It's about 8 inches wide here. The number of columns is set to 1. So here are my options down below when I start creating multiple columns. I can type in a number or use my arrows to bump this up to another number, but before I do, notice that there's a checkbox here with a check in it next to equal column width. That is a default. So if you want equal columns, maybe you're going to do 2 or 3 columns, you want them the same width, you can leave that checked off and then pay attention to the gutter or the space in between those columns. Also, you've got frame settings. If you want to maintain the current frame width that we see here, leave that radio button selected. Or if you want the frame adjusted automatically for you to fit all the text, you can choose this one down below. Preview is also checked off. That means I'm going to see it actually happen down here before I click OK. So let's bump this up to 2 and see what happens. There's 2 columns. You can see what that looks like. Flows down the left and then over to the right. Equal columns because I've got a 1/2 inch as a gutter. 0.500 inches is the space in between my columns. And you can see the 2 columns do have equal widths right here. If I bump that up to 3, again, 3 equal columns. The gutter can be adjusted if I wanted to. And because I've got equal column width selected, if I change the gutter to be something less, you can see as I bump this down to 0.4 and hit Enter, I've got 0.400 inches here, and now you can see I've got wider columns, but it doesn't flow all the way down that 3rd column. I'm going to change my gutter here to 0.7. So I'm going to just change the 4 to a 7 and hit Enter. And you can see that change increases the space in between, and now my text flows a little further down that 3rd column. So I'm going to click OK to accept that. And now I can make some additional adjustments right from here. First of all, I'm going to change the alignment. Right now it's all left aligned, and that looks a little bit jagged down the right-hand side. So if I come up here and I change this to full justification, look what happens as I hover over that. That looks nice and neat, doesn't it? Extra spaces are inserted along the way to make it flush on both the left and the right side of my column. So I'm going to give that a click. I'm going to bring this top node up here. I'm going to drag it down a little bit to give me some extra space, and look how the columns flow now to create a little more text on the third column as I drag it further down. I'm going to go right to about there and let go of that tab. Perfect. That looks good right there. I can also adjust the gutters and the margin widths right from inside. So if I go to my text tool, now I'm inside. Don't worry about all the red squiggly lines. It's because those words aren't recognized in the dictionary. Something we're going to be talking about shortly when it comes to working with the spell checker. But right now you can see there are guidelines here for each of my gutters, the column widths, and as I move my mouse pointer over them, I get the double arrow, which means I can click and drag these in if I wanted to. Just by clicking and dragging, I'm going to decrease the space in between or increase the space in between, and because I've got equal column width set up, automatically they'll stay equal. So I can click and drag. That's too far, and you can see now they're actually touching. So I'm going to click undo. I can also come up to my ruler. I've got guides up here, and you can see as I click and drag to squeeze these together, what happens to my text as it flows around. So eventually I'll get exactly where I want to be and let go. And I'll click on my pick tool, click outside the text to see the end result. Thinking maybe it's coming a little bit too close to the edges. So I'm going to click on it one more time. I'm going to take the handles over here on the left-hand side. I'm going to drag it in slightly. Again, my third column's now scrolling down a bit. I'm going to drag the right side in. Same thing happens. My columns stay equal widths using that gutter space, and all of my text is still visible. I'm going to drag the bottom up as well. Again, text will flow automatically. I'll deselect when it looks just right. So there you go. Using paragraph text, you can actually put that text into columns if you've got lots and you want to save the eyes of your readers and also make it look good on the page. Why not think about columns?